Hello and welcome. July 1 is an important date in India's economic and financial landscape. It marks the foundation of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and hence celebrated as Chartered Accountants Day. And also 7 years back, the goods and services tax regime came into effect on this very date. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing chartered accountants in 2017, drew a very interesting parallel. He said that when we talk about dharma and moksha, we come across the images of saints and monks. Similarly, when we talk about artha, finances, accounts, it is the chartered accountants that comes to our mind, almost as the sages of the economic world. On this special day, I have with me Dr. Sethurathnam Ravi, who is joining us for this very special conversation. Dr. Ravi is the managing partner and founder of Ravi Rajan and Company and the former chairman of the Bombay Stock Exchange. He's also on the board of 45 different companies, including the likes of IDBI Bank, LIC, ONGC, BHEL, etc. Dr. Ravi, thank you so much for your time this morning. As I precisely mentioned about how the parallel that was drew by the Prime Minister back in 2017, and today as we have this government formed, in fact, even before the election campaign was announced or the election schedule was announced, the vision that Prime Minister laid out for his third term was taking India to the third largest economy in the world. Given all of this, my very first question to you is, and on this special day, how are you envisioning the role of chartered accountants and auditors in driving that trajectory for the Indian economy as envisioned by this government?
So, first of all, thank you for calling me and having me interact with you. My first thought is that the chartered accountants are the heart of the whole body. It is like the heart of the whole body. They are the people who drive the economy in a way. They are the people who are the conscience keeper in a way. They are the people who look at books. They are the people who are making financial planning. They are the people who file returns. They are the people who ensure compliance. And many of them are in various fields, including heading banks. Some of them are in the political system. Some of them are even in the film industry. Some of them are industrialists. So if you see even 4 odd lakh chartered accountants, if you see if in a big population like this, what role they are playing, and I think it's a very privileged community, and that is what I feel about the chartered accountant, and they have a lot of role to play. They have a huge role to play in the Indian economy.
Right. So given the dynamism, sir, that the Indian economy is witnessing and which we touched upon, how have you seen the role evolved, be it advising in mergers and acquisitions or, advisory to entrepreneur, new age startups? How has that role evolved?
So when we started the profession way back, it was like audit and only filing income tax returns. Now there are multiple disciplines within it. It can be forensic audit, it can be insolvency professional, it can be even a consultant who is working with GST. There can be people who actually are policy makers, and there are many policy makers and those who also make business models for the company, those who are heading companies to actually make up the whole space. And in the startup space, right from the initiation of a startup company to actually finding its business model and achieving the profitability, the chartered accountants are playing a very integral role. And there I know a lot of chartered accountants who are only focusing on this startup space. Okay. And it's tough because the startups can't pay too much, but on the other hand, the chartered accountants have to deliver a lot. Right. So I think they are that way helping a lot of startups to actually create value.
This is one of those sectors of the economy, where we look at, sir, where there's a lot of regulatory and compliances, right? Month by month, we are having record GST collections and the government crediting better compliance on this, to justify those collections. How is the industry navigating the ever-changing regulatory and compliance environment?
So when I started the profession, we had a certain bit of acts, rules, regulation. Now any chartered accountant has to grapple with lot of regulatory changes, statutory changes, regulations which are coming. Let us take in GST. There are interpretation issues. There are issues of where there are divided opinions on a particular thing, and to ensure compliance and to see that the department is agreeing to that compliance is a big task by itself. Because as you stated, 2017 to now, it's not been a very long journey for even GST. So if even the department is trying to learn about it. The GST Council is also providing a lot of new regulations, and they're also evolving. For example, there is a lot of issue about criminalization. So there are issues around that. But what is happening is the GST Council is being proactive. It is taking measures, and what is happening with the result. There are new provisions that are getting added, and new rules are coming in. So one has to be on the top of all the rules, and it's a fast changing lane. Actually, it's a very fast changing lane.
Very rightly put, sir, that being on top of the rules. But at the same time, I also want to touch upon the part of ethical aspects. The address that I mentioned of the Prime Minister, in that he also mentioned that it is the responsibilities of the CAs and auditors to guide their clients towards a righteous and conductful path. In this context, how do you see the ethical standards evolving, the ICAI's ethical code of conduct, to ensure that?
So there has been a lot of talk about ethics, and ethics is as good as the society is. Right. Let me be very frank here. And what I am seeing, at least what is happening now, is because of the rules, regulations, then Ind AS, all this coming in, there is a very there is no room for discretion. Actually, if you look at the previous about 20 years back, the rules and regulations and the standards left a lot of gap, and now all these gaps have been fulfilled. That means all the rules are boxed in a way, and that makes the ethics very high, and there is no room for non-ethical practices. Some people do, anywhere in any profession, some people are black sheeps, but generally I find that most chartered accountants are ethical. When they sign a balance sheet, they own a balance sheet. There can be interpretation issues. There can be issues of having a very divided opinion on this. But also it also depends. It is not the chartered accountant who runs the company. He can only leave a company. He may not be satisfied. He can qualify a report, but the ethical standard has to be met by the promoters, by the businessmen, by all the stakeholders. So it is very important that all stakeholders maintain ethics, and that is the key to the whole success of everybody. And just even rating agencies have to have ethical standards. Even the board has to have ethical standards. The management will have to have, the KMP will have to have ethical standards. So everybody will have to play a role in keeping the ethics, and of course chartered accountants have a major role in seeing that the ecosystem is ethical.
Absolutely. Very quickly, what is your outlook on the talent that we are seeing towards this profession, and more importantly, retaining them and attracting new as well, because we have a lot of demographic dividend that is still to be reaped? And what is your outlook that this young generation is looking towards when it comes to this profession?
So first of all, let me tell you, very hard to become a chartered accountant. It's not easy. I won't say it's hard, but it's not easy. And there are challenges in becoming a chartered accountant, because the examination percentile is low, and that does discourages a lot of people, because if you don't do anything, then you are neither here nor there. And that is what is a big challenge for all the newcomers or the youngsters who want to do chartered accountancy. Do they have the courage to do it? You should have the courage to do it, and you should have the conviction to do it. And that is why a lot of people in the younger generation, seeing the failures of the past, may not be so encouraged to do it. And also seeing that what especially in the audit line,
Yeah.
nobody wants to enter the audit line as much, because there are a lot of other opportunities for chartered accountants. They can do business, they can do startups, they can do compliance, they can do many other things. And insolvency, it's lot on the plate. So it's very, the auditing tribe is going to be less, and that is what, out of 92,000 odd firms are there, you just see the how big are, how much is the whole, leave the big 6 or 8, you see what is the volume and what is the amount that they are earning out of it. So what I personally feel is, this is my thing, that we'll have to encourage more professionals to come to the to this field, because institute is taking all such measures.
Okay.
Because there's this perception that if you do not qualify, what will happen to their career. So that is one challenge which everybody has.
Dr. Ravi, a lot of talk about technology in the last 1.5 years, especially since the advent of ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. And while the new generation has a lot of embracement towards these technologies, in this profession, how you're seeing the incumbents also, adopting these technologies in the profession, in day-to-day operations, if you could shed some light.
So the younger generation has an absolute advantage, because they are born with technology.
Right.
And they are born, in a 3-year-old, a third class child will have an iPhone or a phone, and they know what it is. And we who are on the older side, or who are in the mid age, find technology to be, we have to train ourselves to this technology, but it is inevitable. The development is so fast in, artificial intelligence, data mining, coming to even, systems, analyzing systems, doing system audit. All this requires technology. You have to have, and institute has done a lot of steps. For example, they have done DISA, which they introduced DISA. So I'm also a qualified DISA. So what happens is, whatever age, means as long as you're in the profession, you got to learn, and that is the key. And what is happening is, the whole world is changing with so many apps, and with new banks coming in, with technology driven audits coming in, risk based audit coming in. I think technology is going to take it to the next level. And that's what I feel. Every chartered accountancy firm, though it's expensive, let me also tell you, just putting tools together for audit, etc., forensic audit, the tools are expensive. It's not cheap. So I think capacity building in terms of technology and human, and integrating the two, are very important.
Dr. Ravi, one pertinent issue, and that is being in the news for the last, I think, a week or so, is the big 4 firms coming under ICAI's lens for their networking arrangements with international networks. Any view on that, sir?
So my view is very simple. There will be people who will be pro to an issue, and I'm agnostic to it. Why am I agnostic? Because everybody has to keep doing their work, and the institute and the government and all the stakeholders will have to do their work. Because there can be there is a talk of conflict, there can be, so these issues have to be resolved. See, because what is happening, we are driven by the Companies Act, but suppose, are we integrating the laws with the international laws? Suppose I am conflicted globally and I am doing here, so is there a conflict? So these are affiliations, and all these are an issue of addressing the conflict. I am not for or against it. What I am trying to say is, if there is a stipulation that is put to Indian firms and Indian chartered accountants, similar stipulation should be there for everybody. That's clear. So there will be a level playing field, there will be equality of thought, and also equality of governance.
Absolutely. You mentioned in the beginning how about the 7 years of the goods and services tax regime, and how there's still scope of improvement. There are people in the profession who are still learning its know-hows. What would be your personal outlook on the reforms that are still needed now that it's around for 7 years?
So there are many reforms that can come in. For example, even what we introduced as RERA, the efficiency of the RERA courts can be improved. I think what is important is disposal. So we have introduced laws, IBC can be a faster resolution.
Okay.
I would like to see more administrative measures being taken to resolve cases faster,
Right.
and to also bring in more of going away from arbitration to more of dispute resolution, and to resolve disputes, because the cost of resolving disputes is very high.
Okay.
And these are the reforms I would like to see, because, and also I would like to see unified accounting system across everybody, more unified accounting system, which is happening, of course, but I would like to see more of these type of reforms which will actually help, especially, for example, in RERA and IBC. I would like more administrative changes, faster decisions, and quicker resolutions, so that the banks get money, and everybody benefits, all stakeholders benefit.
Right. Sir, my last question to you. In the third week of July, this government will present their full budget for this financial year, and a lot of speculation in this whole month of June around some relaxation with respect to the personal income tax. Any particular expectations or your understanding of if there should be any relief on this front?
So I expect one, and I'm not making any prediction,
Right.
but I expect that the personal income tax will be certainly raised to 10 lakhs. That is my assumption, because I think the government would see what difference does it make here, because you have to increase the tax base,
Right.
and the tax rate has to reduce, because you can't be just loading all the taxes on a particular set of people. So I think that will be one thing that will happen.
Okay.
That's one thing that I will see
Okay.
in the budget. I will see a lot of focus. I see a lot of focus on infrastructure, EV,
Okay.
and also for Viksit Bharat, which is carbon free, methyl free, all these
Okay.
initiatives that are coming in. I will see. I hope and see that there will be something on that. I would like to see something on the housing front, where especially housing below 25 lakhs or something gets a interest benefit of some sorts.
Right.
These are the things that I foresee, and I think it will touch a lot of people, because and I would like to see little bit push on the manufacturing, so that one gets more jobs, and also we don't take self-employment very seriously. How do we promote more self-employment?
Right.
Employment is one thing, but how do you promote more self-employment? That is also the key.
Very rightly put, sir, and I really hope that all of the viewers, and especially the middle class who may be listening to sir's expectation on the personal income tax front, will have some relief hearing that, and will surely expect that when the finance minister presents her final budget for this financial year. That was Dr. S. Ravi on the changing role of chartered accountants, auditors, and their role in driving the Indian economy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.